It's Saturday, March 2nd, 2024, and the 49ers finally have hired a defensive coordinator. It's Nick Sorensen. They promoted him from within their staff. In addition, they've hired Brandon Staley, the former Chargers head coach, presumably to be their assistant head coach. Let's talk Sorensen first. He seems like a really good coach. He was with the Seahawks for almost a decade as their DB coach, so he has pedigree. Learning under Pete Carroll. Then he went to Jacksonville as a special teams coordinator. Then he came to the Niners, and last year he was their pass game coordinator and nickels coach. Their pass defense was good. I mean, their pass rush wasn't good, but their coverage was pretty good. And Deommodore Lenoir really flourished as a nickelback for the first time in his career. So Sorensen gets credit for that. The issue that makes this complicated is Brandon Staley. Why is he here? Who hires two defensive coordinators at the same time? Right? That's what they did. They hired two defensive coordinators. And the question now is, what does Staley do? Who has more power? Is Staley here to look over Sorensen's shoulder while Kyle looks over Staley's shoulder? Like, you already had a situation with Steve Wilks where he was kind of neutered as a coach. Don't do whatever instincts you have, don't follow them. Just do what we want you to do. And now you have the next guy in that role who has been on the staff for 2 years, but it seems like, again, are they letting him trust his instincts, or is it do exactly what we say and Brandon Staley's going to monitor you? And Kyle's going to monitor Brandon Staley. Seems like maybe this coordinator has even less power than the previous one, which the previous one was neutered, as I said. Does this move scream confidence to you? They could have promoted Nick Sorensen last year instead of Steve Wilks. He was on the staff, but they didn't. Okay, fine. Maybe he wasn't ready. They could have promoted Nick Sorensen weeks ago. It's been like 3 weeks since they lost the Super Bowl. But they interviewed, or they tried to talk to Spagnuolo, and they may have reached out to Bill Belichick, and they interviewed Dave Merritt. It frankly doesn't seem like Nick Sorensen was their first choice. Maybe he was. But if he was their first choice, why is Brandon Staley here? Seems to me that their first choice was one of these former head coaches who's been fired. I don't know why they want that. Seemed like they wanted someone with a little bit more experience, like Brandon. Seems like they wanted Brandon Staley. Let's put it like that. I'm guessing the organization, the front office, the head coach wanted Staley. I'm guessing the players freaking don't. I mean, it's Brandon Staley. How much confidence does he inspire? He got run out of LA. He was freaking terrible with the Chargers. He coached some really good players. Derwin James, Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa. I'm thinking the Niners players wanted Sorensen. That's their guy. And the Niners front office sort of gave the players what they want. All right. We'll promote your guy. But we're also bringing in Brandon Staley, our guy. And we won't call him the defensive coordinator, but he's the assistant head coach, presumably. Seems pretty important. So he's in the building, but he's not necessarily interacting directly with the players. Seems clumsy at best. A little awkward. Still, I like Nick Sorensen. It just seems like they're not really setting him up to succeed. The question is, will Nick Sorensen be the Niners defensive coordinator a year from now? It's fair to wonder and to be skeptical, because a year from now, Robert Saleh might be available. And does kind of seem like the way they made this hire right now, they could pivot again in a year if they want to. I mean, they absolutely could. So Nick Sorensen, congratulations on being promoted to the Niners' next designated scapegoat and defensive coordinator. But you're also the designated scapegoat. I mean, you got Brandon Staley breathing down your neck in case you do something wrong mid-season. They're going to replace you with Brandon Staley mid-season. So you better figure out where you're going to stand in the booth. I would say not the booth. Probably want to be on the sideline. What could go wrong? Good luck, Nick.